Here's a look at the forecast for Tropical Depression Wilma. Yes, Bagyo did upgrade this earlier on today, located out just towards the east of Versailles, slowly tracking towards the west. But as I've been saying over the course of the past week, it's not so much about the low-level center, which here on satellite imagery, you can see it's kind of right about in here. It's going to drift off towards the west, following along the shear line. But that really is the big case. All the convection that's going to be wrapping around with it. We're already seeing plenty of heavy rainfall out ahead of it across a good portion of Samar, Leyte, even into Cebu. We're seeing some thunderstorms not even associated with that low-level center. And then well north of it, we have a lot of dry air but very windy conditions continuing to extend all the way back towards northern Luzon. So yes, it is a tropical system now. It has been named. Sometimes people get confused by the translation too. I know in the Philippines on TV they call it Bagyo. And the direct translation does mean typhoon, but by no means is this a typhoon. It is not even remotely close, but it does have a big wind field. And this is another good example here. You actually see with our low pressure area down to 954 millibars, by the way. This would be a powerful typhoon if it was in the tropics. And that is this one way back here towards the north, just off the Kamchatka Peninsula. You see it right there? 954 millibars. And look how this stretches down towards the south, and at the very tail end of that front, we have our tropical depression, which is 1,006 millibars, a much weaker low. But then you see this kind of GW, that is gale warning. That is that hashed out area. We have all these gusty conditions north of that center of circulation. That's going to continue to bring this windy weather throughout the day here on our Friday, even ending into Saturday as it slowly tracks towards the west. We still see windy weather back towards the north, with a lot of the bulk of the rain extending down towards the south across parts of the Bicol region here, and also in a good portion of Leyte and Samar. So you see this tracks off here towards our west, interacts with our shear line, and just kind of pumps that moisture onshore with windier conditions back here, but albeit dry towards the north. So here's another good example of here with that shear line slowly lifting up here as our system tracks across the Philippines, increasing that rainfall Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday. Eventually, by Sunday, Manila is even going to see a little bit of rain, and then it shifts off towards the north as we go ahead into Monday over towards Tuesday. So for now, the heaviest of the rain for Friday still across parts of the Bicol region, Samar as well. Cebu still could be looking at some scattered showers, but the heaviest definitely still along the eastern seaboard. And then as it tracks towards the west across northern areas of Palawan, so out there on that island, you're going to see that rain. All of this moisture shifts towards the north through Manila into northern Luzon by the end of the weekend, Monday and into Tuesday. I like this little side view. It gives you a different perspective on these traditional weather maps, and that's what I'm trying to do always, is change your perspective on it and try to educate, inform, and let you guys know what's going on here, and hopefully that kind of gives you an idea. So I know, because right here, this map is not the traditional one that people look at. It usually is this right here, and I think a lot of people get hung up on this, because if you just purely base on this graphic here and you go, okay, well, that looks like the worst of the weather's actually going to pass right over northern Cebu. Not really. Honestly, it's yes, Cebu's going to look at some rain, and there's going to be you're not going to be sunshine and flowers the whole time. But the worst of the weather is likely going to be Samar and the Bicol area outside of your cone of air here, because of that interaction with the northeast monsoon and those gale force conditions pushing in from the north. This is another good graphic here. On the bottom, you can see where the low-level center is with the winds. Also in the bottom left, we have our moisture. In the top two graphics is the GFS versus the ECMWF. And you can see that does track over southern areas, northern areas of Visayas, I should say. But look where the windiest of the conditions are. On the graphic right to me to the left of me here. It is still across parts of Luzon, not so much near that center. So, yeah, and like I said, this doesn't mean you're going to completely ignore this low-level center line. For example, here's your spaghetti plots, also very similar setup. Doesn't mean you have to ignore it. Doesn't mean it's going to be sunshine, but it does mean that's not really where you're getting the worst, the absolute worst of the weather. And even if we jump over and let's just actually take a look at where the ECMWF is showing the heaviest of the rain. It is Leyte, Samar, parts of Mindoro, maybe over towards Bohol, just like that. But then you see it really pile up right here and also right in there. So yeah, let's go back to that real quick. So it comes across like that. There's your heaviest of the rainfall all north of this. But look at southern areas of Cebu. Look at southern areas of Leyte, and look at all of Mindanao. Not really getting much of anything, and some of those areas are technically in the cone of air. So just keep that in mind here. It really is about that interaction towards the north and how that's going to influence this weather system. So yeah, tropical depression Wilma, now named by Pagasa here. And yeah, by the way, here's a look at our super typhoons on our Patreon. Everybody donates $10 a month. I got to actually update this. We got some new super typhoons, and I'm putting a new video out there, Patreon exclusive, a little behind the scenes check for our Patreon members. Just look for that. That's probably going to be coming in today sometime. So just watch out for that. But always remember, for our friends that continue to watch these updates, know your information from your official sources. I'm never an official source. Make sure you check out Bagasa, your local NDRMC, for the latest information about what's happening in your neighborhood. As always, though, thanks for watching and stopping by. And I hope, of course, you stay safe out there. Okay, friends? Bye.